All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with Cam from Camber Fitness and Camber Films. Cam, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here, Zach. I'm looking forward to talking about all the stuff that I like to do and just how things are going.
Awesome, man. Happy to have you. Thank you for taking the time. So, as I mentioned, Cam is um, active with his two kind of main outlets right now, I would say, of Camber Fitness, which is fitness content creation, and Camber Films, which is a filmmaking company. So that's a little bit about what Cam's up to and what he's doing. But do you mind just giving a little bit of your background and who you are a bit?
Yeah, for sure. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been into doing creative type things. I remember me and one of my best friends used to always carry around a big old camcorder on our shoulder with the old VHS tapes, and I'd have two VCRs trying to edit videos together with that, making skateboarding videos, and then we got into music and started trying to make music videos to, become famous rock stars and that type of stuff. But
Yeah,
I kind of came to realize that even though I could play guitar and stuff pretty well, the me singing aspect of it wasn't that great, or at least not
yeah,
as good as I thought at the time. So I just had been buying like lots of video equipment and stuff, trying to make good looking music videos so people would hopefully listen to my music and I'd get heard or found or whatever. But that didn't work out. And I kind of found myself with all this video equipment thinking, like, I spent a lot of money on this stuff and I don't really have anything to show for it. And I don't want to keep asking my wife to buy more expensive equipment. So I started filming weddings on the side and got pretty good at that and kind of turned into a little business. And pretty much everything I learned about video, I learned on YouTube.
oh wow,
And
okay,
but when I was learning, I never really found like a single channel where I could go from basically just stay on that and learn what I need to know. So I made my Camber Motion YouTube channel about basically teaching you how to go from knowing nothing about a camera to being able to get good enough to where you could make money with it and or make money with your camera. And
yeah,
that's where my main YouTube channel, how it kind of started about almost 4 years ago now. And I had my original one, Camber Films, where I would post like wedding videos, my own personal projects, that type of stuff. And I've just always been active as far as exercising and working out. My dad was in the military, and he always took me with him. He was big into fitness, and he'd take me to the gym since I was a little kid. And it's just been a big part of my life. So I figured, you know what? I'm already working out and doing this stuff all the time. Why not just turn on the camera and talk about stuff? And I'd have friends and stuff ask me advice on stuff they should do. So I figured, all these questions I get, I can just make videos about them, and I'm sure there's going to be thousands of other people that have the same question. So it's
right.
just kind of involved into me having a camera all the time and making videos, and it's something I enjoy doing. And my channel's been growing pretty well, so it's just great to see, especially when you get comments from people saying, how much it's helped them as far as either exercising or figuring out camera problems, and it's been real rewarding in that aspect too.
That's awesome, and it's really cool to hear that it's kind of like that passion for cameras and film has meshed well with your passion for fitness, and it's things that you've always enjoyed, and now you're doing it together essentially and bringing it all together to have the products that you do. And it's really cool to see, and I'm sure, like you said, it's very rewarding to hear that feedback from people that like you're really helping and they're learning a lot from your content.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things too, as far as YouTube and trying to make stuff that's interesting,
Hmm.
is pretty much anything you look up on YouTube or anything, someone's already made a video on it, and it's just multiple
Yeah,
people making their own version. So not anything against the main guys in the fitness industry, but a lot of it's just younger guys, teenagers or early 20s, just working out, doing all this stuff, looking cool. And I'm in my 30s and I've got 5 kids, so I'm like, how can I do this differently? And kind of I try to involve my family and have the kids in there just to
yeah.
show like you can have a normal life. A lot of these guys, they just live off their YouTube stuff. But I'm like, I
Hmm.
have a job, I have a family, and do all this stuff. So, you know, what's your excuse? And try to motivate people kind of in that way too, and just make it different. And that's a big thing for anyone who's wanting to do YouTube, is finding a way to be unique instead of copying someone else. Because A lot of people see someone like, oh, I could do that, and try to do exactly what someone else is doing. It doesn't work because you're not being yourself.
Right. Yeah. I think that it's really important to be yourself and to have that relatability. And I definitely think that with your content, the relatability comes across. I mean, I'm 25. Don't have kids or a partner or anything like that. So I
Yeah,
can't necessarily relate exactly, but like just watching your content and seeing what you put out there, I'm like, oh, like this seems like a really down to earth person that I'm watching and learning from, whether it's about workouts or whether it's about different recipes that I can make or something. So it's still, even though like we're different, we have different backgrounds or we're different people on the surface, there is that relatability that I still find comes across with your content, which it can be hard to find. And like you said, with people, and no knock on anyone, but people like in the fitness industry who this is their whole life, their income, all that stuff. It's not always as relatable, or it seems kind of like maybe disingenuous at times. So it's cool to see that you do have that relatability to you.
yeah. Especially, I mean, you see like Hollywood stars and all this stuff. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
how they did this, and it's like, well, you're looking at their personal chef too, and they're doing this for a
Yeah.
movie role while getting paid millions of dollars. Like the average person is going to work for 8 hours and then tired when they get home and like, I should work out, but I don't feel like it. So
Yeah.
I just try to be real and help motivate people.
Yeah, definitely. I love the realness. And I mean, that even reminds me of um, one of the videos that you put out recently that I was watching. It was um, eating fast food for a day. It
Yeah,
was Hardee's, I want to say it was.
yeah,
Yep, it was the Hardee's
yeah,
one. And like just like the realness of that, and like just the relatability of doing that kind of like challenge in general. But also like I remember in the video you said like, oh, I could have went and got this or whatever from there, but I didn't really feel like it. So, just kind of like the relatability. And it's not like everything's perfect. And like you said, just the more authentic, no, no hidden tricks to the videos and stuff.
yeah, for sure. And to for my videos too, I made I don't know if you saw in there, but I made a video about meeting up with my editor
Yeah. Yep.
in India. Like I actually met this guy through my Camber Motion channel a couple years ago. He was started asking questions because he was getting into cameras, and
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the first people to join my Facebook group I made for my filmmaking channel, where I just try to help people answer questions and stuff because it's a lot easier to be specific with people there instead of just YouTube comments. And
Yeah.
he was one of the first people to join and was looking for a job. And I was like, I want to do this fitness thing, but I don't necessarily have time to do all the editing for both channels. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just been really cool because one of the things I noticed that helps my videos be a little different is, for me, since I watch a lot of other fitness people stuff, I know I would have the tendency to just try to make the videos like everyone else does. And
Yeah.
so I kind of record them with an idea in my mind, but then I just give him the footage. I'm like, hey, do what you want with him. And he is like, before he met me, he never watched any fitness stuff. He had his own style. So it's like my videos are showing up in this fitness category, but looking completely different as far
Yeah.
as the way he's editing them. So that's something I learned too about collaboration. I used to be in the mindset of like, I want to write my movie, I want to do everything myself and have all these
Mm-hmm.
ideas and think like it's not really me doing it if I have someone else helping. But I've learned like your stuff can be so much better when you have another perspective. So like collaboration, not just with filming with someone else, but actually, that part of the editing process can make a huge difference on your video when you have an idea in your head, but this person twists it into a completely different way and it ends up being like surprisingly good to me because I was kind of nervous at first, but
Yeah.
then pleasantly surprised with how good everything was turning out.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good point. You get that other perspective from someone else. And, for your editor, for his kind of background not being in fitness or maybe not being as familiar with the fitness, YouTube or content creation side of things, it is kind of like you said, you're in the fitness category, but it might have different kind of editing styles that are in completely different categories. So it kind of helps with the uniqueness.
Yeah, and I'll be watching back because I'll send him stuff. He edits it, sends it to me. I'm like, okay, maybe change this or this, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I leave most things, and I'm just like, man, I never would have thought of that. And just the
Right.
things that he sees that I play in a certain way, I'm like, wow, this is way better than if I had edited it. Because for me, I putting my everything into the editing because I'm trying to do both channels. And I'm sure, as you
Yeah.
know, with the editing podcast, going through a long recording of stuff, it takes work, and it can be a task when you're just looking at it like, oh, I got to do this now.
Yeah. No, definitely. So I mean, it's nice to have that help when you can get it for sure. So kind of going off that, like having the help from the editing and stuff, you mentioned you're working, you have a family, you have these two channels. How do you find a way to fit everything in?
Yeah, well, actually, I've been in the military too for 11 years now, and I'm a pilot in the Air Force. I do like I'm usually gone away, and I'm fly for an airline as well now. But I might be gone from home for like a week to a week and a half every month. So I try to plan and record stuff when I'm gone, or sorry, when I'm home, and then
Hmm.
when I'm gone and I'm in hotels or just wherever waiting for my next flight, I'll just be sitting in a hotel room doing lots of editing. So I try to be really what's the word, intentional with my time, like especially in the last year since I've been doing both these channels. I try, unless it's with a video where my kids are doing it with me, it's not as big a deal because we're all working together, and
Hmm.
kind of it's a family thing anyways. But I usually will wait till my kids are in bed to record the types of videos where I'm just sitting there talking about stuff. And I just try to be really mindful, especially of not letting it take away from family time and all that. Because my wife and I, she doesn't work. She stays at home with our kids, and we homeschool
Okay.
our kids too. So it's we're around each other a lot, but I do try to be very mindful now of when I'm doing everything, and make sure that when I am away from home and I'm sitting around, I'm not just watching Netflix in the hotel room, but I'm sitting there editing. Although a lot of times I do just put on like The Office on Netflix and let it play in the background,
Yep.
because that's one of those shows where you can just laugh without even watching it, and it's like
Exactly.
keeping me company in my room.
Yep. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. And I think that's another thing that I've really grown to like about your fitness content is just how involved your family seems to get in it. Your kids are coming into the videos and taste testing things, or just you see them coming in and out of shots and stuff. What's, I guess, their take on everything you're doing with content creation? Like, do they kind of think it's like really cool and they're like, oh, I want to be in the video, or is it kind of like something that they're like, oh, like I don't know,
Uh,
maybe keep me out of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, no, they almost always want to. Like, I just
Okay.
finished recording over the past day. I made a video last year called 7 tripod tricks for filmmaking, where I mean, you have a tripod, you stick your camera on it,
Hmm.
and that's how most people use it. But I was showing like, hey, you can do these things to make your videos look really cool using just a tripod, because a lot of people think I need a gimbal, I need this or that, but you can mimic a lot of those things with the tripod, and that did really well. So I just made a monopod version of
Okay.
that, and we did like a little Christmas short video thing. It's like 40 seconds, but it's like the kids wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark out, and they run downstairs and they're opening all the Christmas presents before we wake up. And then we get up and come out. And we're like, "What are you doing?" And everything's already open.
Yeah.
And they're like all excited about doing that kind of stuff. And my son actually, so we have a boy, he's the oldest,
Yep.
and then 4 girls. And our son, back before I started my um, filmmaking tutorial channel, the Camber Motion one, I
Hmm.
uh, I did kind of like a test run as I was learning YouTube stuff just to see how things worked, and we started a one for my son called Connor's Brickyard, which is like a Lego building one. It's still
Okay.
up. We haven't put anything on that in like, I don't know, almost 3 years, 2.5 years or something, but I was just kind of testing to see how YouTube worked and with putting out consistent content. And I actually did some trials on that with like, what happens if you buy views? What happens if you buy subscribers? And I've made some videos on my tutorial channel on why you shouldn't, because I learned that
Right.
that's a bad idea. But man, he asks me all the time. He's like, "When are we gonna do Lego videos again?" I'm like, "Buddy, that stuff's expensive. Buying these big Lego sets every week and putting them together." And I don't know if you know, like a little over 2 years ago, YouTube came out with some new rules for monetization and all this stuff, where if it's a channel that's based like or aimed at kids, that you can't monetize and all this stuff. So
Oh no, I
the
didn't know that.
idea is if that one kind of took off, like, hey, you know, we could make money from it and that would pay for the Lego sets and he's having fun. But once they did that, I was like, well, I'm not just going to keep doing this when there's not going to be any future benefit from it, because it is really expensive.
Yeah.
But I bought him a little camcorder, like, I think Christmas or maybe his birthday a couple years ago, and he'll take it around and it's like, hey, my card's full. And I'll say, okay, I'll put it on my computer, and my wife and I'll look at it later, and he's sitting in his room saying, doing the same stuff I do in my videos, talking about like a science book he has, talking about the phases of the moon or just random stuff like that. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. So it's funny to see that stuff.
Oh man, I love that. That's so funny. But no, Legos are definitely expensive. I don't blame you on that. But it is cool that, like you said, these are passions that you have and everything, but you are able to also connect it to the family and have that kind of quality time with your family through the content that you're making. I think that that's really cool.
And my wife, she hates acting in my
Okay.
videos,
Yeah.
but but she's really good at it too. Like, she
Yeah.
took an acting class when we were in college and did really well in it. And she thought about doing it, but she just didn't want to get into the, I'm sure you know, as far as not that she would want to be an actress or go to Hollywood or something, but just,
Hmm.
be in plays and stuff. But there's just a lot of, I don't know, it's just an industry that's not that great if you're not willing to almost completely change who you are, type of
Right.
thing.
Right.
So now she can just act in my silly things and get seen that way. I don't know if you've seen, but we actually have a video on my Camber Films channel. It's the one that made that channel start getting a lot of subscribers. But we made a parody video on "Can't Stop the Feeling," that Justin Timberlake
Yeah.
song.
Yep.
So she was pregnant with our fourth kid, and for our pregnancy announcement, we did like a parody to that Pharrell "Happy" song.
Yeah.
And a lot of people liked it, so I got the idea. I was like, hey, we should do one that can't stop the feeling, like when you go into labor, can't stop the feeling of going into labor. So
Yeah.
I did that, and that video ended up getting over 4 million views on
Wow.
that channel. And I think I had like 50 subscribers at the time, and that shot it up to like almost 7,000.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's very cringy to watch it now. Like, I got a
Sure.
karaoke version of the song and made our own lyrics over it. And I was like, how does it feel to know that over 4 million people have seen you pretend like you're going into labor? But the thing that stuck in my mind, though, the idea of it was like, she's going into labor
Yeah.
and I locked the keys in the car. So we're trying to figure out how to get to the hospital. And
Okay.
you know that scene in Napoleon Dynamite where Napoleon's pulling his brother into town on the
Yep.
rollerblades?
Yep.
That's what we did. I had her in rollerblades, 8 months pregnant, and I'm pulling her on a bike, going down the street. And yeah, it's very silly. But
I
after
love
that, I
it.
was like, oh, I guess I can make some stuff that people find interesting. Although there's
Right.
a lot of, I'm sure you know, on YouTube, there's lots of trolls and mean
Yeah.
comments too. But actually, those are some of my favorite comments that I get on YouTube. It's funny the things people will say.
That's interesting because I was gonna ask, like, when it comes to troll comments or just maybe not even troll, just like mean or, harsh feedback, I was gonna ask if that ever bothers you or how you kind of deal with that kind of stuff. But you kind of enjoy getting that feedback?
The only thing that kind of bothers me sometimes is if there's something I said in a video that I didn't realize, like, oh, I actually got that wrong.
Okay.
And which I've taken a couple of videos down. Like, some of my best videos on my filmmaking channel are just telling people, hey, if you have this camera, these are the best memory cards for you to get. And
Hmm.
it's just based on the speeds of cameras and recording rates and speeds of the cards. So a new Canon camera came out a couple of years ago, and I never used it, but I'm just looking through their manual saying, okay, this is how fast the camera is. These cards would be good. But the main one I suggested, apparently there was some compatibility issue, and a bunch of people are saying, you don't know what you're talking about. This, and
Hmm.
I had a lot of them like saying this isn't working. So I was like, okay, sorry, and I just took the video down. But
Yeah.
The things that make me laugh are like, I did a video suggesting a camera, a couple cameras, one of my second, I think my second or third video. And at the end, I was like, hey, if you don't have money for a camera, and I pulled out my iPhone, I was like, just use your phone that's in your pocket and learn how to make it look good. And this guy had like a massive paragraph rant talking about how I'm an Apple spokesperson because I had an Apple Watch on. Then I pulled out my shiny Apple phone at the end to
Yeah.
advertise that's all you need. Because I said I've even used this in a wedding, and the guy was like you've actually filmed a whole wedding. I was like, I didn't. I said I used it in a wedding. Like I literally put my gear in the car and something started happening, so I pulled out my phone and started recording.
Yeah.
And but it was this whole long rant. And at the end, the guy said, "But he has nice hair. I'll give him that." And I was like, and I used to get emails with all my comments before I got a lot,
Yeah.
and I turned that off because it was getting annoying. So I got the email of it, but then the guy deleted his comment, so I like screenshotted the email so I could have it forever to read because it's pretty funny. I actually made a live video too a while, I don't know, like 2 years ago, like reacting to troll comments on my channel,
Okay.
and it's just funny stuff people say.
It is, and that's funny, and I'm glad that you have the screenshot to kind of remember that. And on the off chance that that person that commented is listening to this, thank you for the laughs because I enjoyed hearing that story secondhand.
Yeah, there's many good ones. Not as good as that, but that's my favorite
Right.
of all time.
Definitely. I love that. And Cam, when it comes to like the fitness side of the content creation that you put out there, like have you ever been worried or had any concern about like, oh, what if someone doesn't think that I'm big enough or that I'm lean enough or anything like that? Like, is there any kind of struggle with that, or has that just kind of been pretty easy for you to post and not really care about?
Yeah, I've thought about that actually, because I mean, not that it worried me, but I'm also it's kind of an interesting phase. Like when you first start getting into fitness, or like if you first start losing weight. I've never been like overweight. I've gotten you know thicker. I mean,
Hmm.
but not like no one would look at me and think, oh, he's fat. But
Right.
for the first time a few years ago, I was like, I want to see like how muscular I'll look if I cut down a lot. And I did that, and I got really lean. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna try to stay like this all the time. And it's like you start to feel like, oh, if I don't look this good, people won't look
Hmm.
at me the same way. When I've learned, like in all reality, no one really cares about how you look more than you do. Because most people, like my
Yeah.
wife, she'll be getting ready to go and switching 3 different shirts. I'm like, babe, what are you doing? She's like, I just don't know which one looks good. I was like, you're the only one who's thinking about it. Or the same thing with shoes. Like, I'm pretty sure no one's going to be looking at your shoes, like, because everyone
Right.
else is worried about what people think about their shirts and all this type of stuff. Not that
Right.
what other people think doesn't matter, but I just think we overemphasize how much other people are looking at us, or like what is important about us. And I've kind of transitioned slowly through like I just want to be as healthy as I can. And I also like I've been getting a lot stronger over the last year because I've been really pushing hard because I'm just trying to hit certain goals. But
Hmm.
that's another aspect I just thought, that's how I can be different, because all these guys, it's like, man, they can lift so much weight. For one, we don't know if they're taking anything, because
Right.
most average people I know really can't lift that much weight, and they think that I lift so much. And I just want to show I do like a lot of live workouts showing, hey, literally, this is what I'm doing the whole time.
Hmm.
And maybe it's not as much as other people do, but you really don't have to lift a ton of weight to be in good shape, type of thing. Because
Right.
I just want to encourage people to be healthy, which, I look at other guys, I'm like, man, it would be cool if I was as big as him or whatever. But
Yeah.
in the end, like, even my wife, I've gained about, I don't know, 7 pounds over the last 4 months because I've been trying to put on a little more weight. And she's like, I like the way you look better now. You were too skinny before. And I'm like, it's only 7 pounds, but
Right.
I'm like, hey, I care more about her than thousands of people on the internet. So
Exactly.
I think the big thing with that is just, if you do get into it, knowing that, like, just be happy with yourself. And even if you want to improve what you are, like, be happy with the process and the fact that you are getting better than you used to be. Because I made a video on like how to stay motivated, because a lot of people ask me that.
Yeah.
And the big thing to me is like set some goals, like short term and long term, and track your progress. And when you can look back and see, oh, like, I don't know, for example, a year ago, I was only able to overhead press 70 pounds, and now I'm doing that as
Mm-hmm.
one of my warm-up sets. So just little things like that. You're like, okay, I feel like nothing's really changed, but I look at a picture from 6 months or a year ago, and wow, I really have changed a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how, you know, when we are working towards something, whether it is fitness or like a skill or anything, we might not see the changes or the progress that we're making daily, weekly, monthly. But then, like, when you compare, what you accomplished a year ago, or like, if it is fitness, like progress pictures or whatever, it is kind of crazy how much like of a change you can see that you didn't realize was kind of occurring in the moment. And, I really like that you're saying, Cam, about just like, sometimes over we overthink what other people are thinking about us, or like, we just have to worry about what makes us that our own happiness and what makes us feel good, or what are we proud of. I think that especially with social media, it's so easy to compare yourself to others. And um, you know I guess it can help with goals, and it can help motivate you at times, but also it can bring you down, and that can be tough too.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially people I've helped, family members or other stuff like losing weight or getting in shape
Hmm.
or helping them learn, they'll look at people on YouTube and be like, oh man, I want to look like that. I'm thinking, God, they don't even look like that.
Right.
Like
Right.
throughout the day, like that's literally the way I look. If I get up in the morning, I'm dehydrated from sleeping all night. I don't have any food in my system. If I get the lighting just right coming from the side window in my room, like I'll look extra shredded in the mirror. And then that night when I go to bed, I've drank a lot of water all day. My stomach's full. The
Hmm.
lights, it's dark out, so I just have the bedroom light on and everything looks flat. And I'm like, I look like a completely different person. Like people don't realize what you see on Instagram is like people posing perfectly at the right time of day, or
Yep.
even like doing a photo shoot for a few days, taking tons of pictures, and then they just post those slowly throughout for over months of time. And you think, oh man, they look like that all the time. And I used to think, oh, my abs don't look good enough if they're not like popping out looking
Right.
shredded all the time. But hey, once you drink like a gallon of water throughout the day, you're not going to look the same for the rest of the day until the next day after it's all out of your system again. So it's just, I try to put that in my videos a lot. Just
Yeah.
realize that, yeah, these people look good, but they don't look like that all day or all the time.
Yeah, I think that that's important, and I love that you have that message in your videos. Just like, it's great to see those pictures or even videos on social media or whatever, but it's not necessarily what that person looks like all the time. And something you mentioned earlier is like, there's no way to know, this person in the fitness space that you're looking at, are they natural, are they taking something, because obviously results can vary if you're natural or not. And I think, like, even for me, I'm natural, but like, I follow on social media or watch YouTube videos of people that are admittedly not, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm never gonna get that big. And then, like, I realize, like, of course not, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
natural. And you know it shouldn't I shouldn't be down on myself because I'm not like that strong, or I won't get biceps that big. Again, I think it comes back to like not really comparing yourself to others, and just learning to be happy with yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was saying before, if you can just compare yourself with yourself, then
Hmm.
you can always see improvement. If you're pushing hard, sticking with something, being consistent. Like when I took pictures in May of 2020 of myself for the first time just to do it, and then took pictures again a year later, and I didn't realize like my leg. I never really worked up my legs when I was younger, and I
Okay.
really like started focusing on it the last few years, and I was like, holy cow! Like my legs look huge compared to a year ago. But when you go day to day looking at yourself in the mirror, you don't
Hmm.
notice that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. And that's just for me. That's a lot of motivation to see that okay, this stuff's working,
Yeah.
and just quality of life and all that. Like you don't have to be shredded. You don't have to have all this muscle to be happy. Like, and
Right.
there's a guy I know that was, I think, like up to 220 or almost 230 pounds, and I was helping him, and he got down to like almost, I think, 60. Like he lost a lot of weight over
Yeah.
a 6 month period, which I was telling him, hey, slow down. You're gonna
Right.
rebound because you're crash dieting. But
Yeah.
he's back up around 180 now. But like just his quality of life, like 50 pounds lighter. Like he can run
Hmm.
a mile faster than me. I rarely run. I do other
Yeah,
cardio stuff, but like before, it hurt his knees to walk, or just getting up to move
yeah,
around is uncomfortable. Whereas now, I mean, he's up doing all kinds of stuff, being active, and it's just your quality of life improves when, you just shoot to be a little better than you were the day before.
exactly. I love that because yeah, like I mean, I think for a lot of people that are more into like the fitness space and the fitness industry, I think sometimes we lose in the shuffle that you know the whole point of fitness is to improve your health, right? We don't have to have a ripped six pack all the time or be the next
Hmm.
Arnold, to be happy or to be healthy. And I love that example that you gave with the individual that you've been helping out with. I think that that's great, and I think that for some people, maybe just being able to play with your kids and not feel out of breath, or to go to the park with your grandkids, or to be able to take your groceries up to the third floor apartment or whatever without feeling out of breath. Like that's perfectly a good goal to set. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah, I live in the South in
Hmm.
Alabama, and it gets hot in the
Yeah.
summertime, and we'll take our kids to the park and stuff, and just they're running around like, oh, I need some water, but they're just going and going, and I'm like, man, it is hot, and I'm already tired just being out here. And then I see someone who's like 100 pounds more than me. I'm just thinking, I can't imagine like how,
Hmm.
like, I'm not dogging that person, but I'm just
Sure.
like, I can't imagine how much more to carry around. Talking to that. Have you ever seen that 1,000 Pound Sisters show?
Yeah. Yep.
Like the one girl's like 600 pounds or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you don't realize how strong she really is. I mean, it's super unhealthy, but like I deadlifted 400 pounds for the first time last week, and I'm about 185. So I was still lighter than her while holding that weight. And I was like, there is no way I'm walking around holding this weight. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a big stress on your body. Like I was worn out and tired like the rest of the day just from that one lift. And man, it's just, I just want to encourage people to be better,
Yeah.
like try to be healthier, because it's, especially with sickness and all kinds of stuff going around. Like I just,
Hmm.
and having a family, I want to make choices that are going to help me be around as long as I can. That's one of the reasons I want to be natural. Like I've thought about, I wonder how much more I'd grow if I did this or took that. But like on the one hand, like with my job, I go to different countries all the time. Like I'm not about to try to be taking different pills or drugs or anything like that
Yeah.
across different countries. And if I was on something and then quit taking it on and off, then that's kind of defeating the purpose
Right.
of it. So it's like, just just be happy, be healthy, as healthy as you can. But
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people unfortunately don't realize until they get older. Like say a lot of these YouTubers that are in their 20s and are
Hmm.
blasting lots of PDs and stuff, and they're just like, oh, I just want to get big. This is important to me. And then they find someone and get married, and then have all this heart damage and stuff they didn't realize would be as big a deal to them once they actually have people that want them around and they're taken care of and all this kind of stuff. Because my wife and I, we got married when I was 20 and she was 21, and we started having kids like a couple years later. So I've
Okay.
always had a lot of people kind of depending on me and doing stuff. So I've just always been trying to make decisions. It's in the best interest of my family too. But like, I'll make comments on videos that saying like, yeah, just try to be as healthy as you can and stay natural, because you don't know when you get older if you'll regret it. And people are like, oh yeah, so maybe I just should never ride in a car because I could get in a crash and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, take your drugs if you want. I'm just trying to encourage you to think
Yeah.
what you might be like in the future.
That's that's an interesting comparison to make between
Yeah,
like
I'm like,
PEDs and getting in a car, but
because I mean, yeah, you are putting yourself at risk with
yeah.
everything you do, but I'm not doing stuff to my heart and
Hmm.
other parts of my body that could have bad reactions.
Definitely, and I think that it's just when you're younger or just earlier in your life, you might not want to think or care about thinking about the future, or like, who cares what's going to happen 20 years from now or whatever. But I think it is important. And I think like, just even, um, like Greg Doucette, for example, I think he does a pretty good job talking about like how he did abuse drugs when he was younger. Now, like he, it sounds like he kind of does regret it a bit nowadays, based on the content that
Yeah,
he's putting out now. So, that's someone that competed at a very high level and has some great accomplishments. But now, maybe 20 years later, he's like, yeah, probably went a little too hard on the PEDs.
yeah, and there's a lot of guys this year who have been having heart attacks, have
Yeah.
like dying like days before or after a competition. Like it's gotta think, is it really? I mean,
Hmm.
just like anyone else who goes to the Olympics or anything like that, if it's important to you, you're gonna push as hard as you can. But unfortunately, like the sport of bodybuilding isn't really healthy is when you get into competing and trying to be at such a low, body fat level that you
Right.
could literally die. So
Yeah. That is.
unfortunately, I mean, that's one thing I try to say is like, hey, bodybuilding itself is healthy because you're trying to improve your body. But if you compete, you
Hmm.
need to be really careful.
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into competing, whether it is, hopping on some substances or just even like the rigor of what you like, the stress that you put your body through. Um,
Hmm.
it can be tough and it can be borderline unhealthy. So, just be careful. And, I think it goes back to the message that you've been saying from the start, just like try to be as healthy as you can be. And I think that that's super important. And I think both of us can sit here and encourage people to do that. And, um, just don't worry about what you might see on social media or comparing yourself to others. Just it's your own journey. So do what like is healthy for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like I was telling you before, my dad
Hmm.
had me working out as a kid, and even up to about I don't know, like 5 years ago, he was still stronger than me. I found I can lift more weights than him, but he's here with me and out of town. We're hanging out together for a couple of days, but we just went to the gym and lifting weights and stuff later and just doing stuff having fun. But like it's a lot of people look at our fitness as chore, but to me
Yeah.
like that's because I don't know, it makes me feel more productive on the one hand. Like
Yeah.
how you're saying, how do you balance everything? Like when I do exercise, I spend an hour to an hour and a half every day. Like I'll lift weights for 3 days and then I'll do some kind of cardio, usually swimming. And I get that done and I just feel like, okay, I took care of myself. I'm in the mindset of going and getting stuff done now, type of thing. So,
Yeah.
uh, if that's, I think the big problem with a lot of people is thinking if you're gonna be healthy, if you're gonna start into it, like I made a couple videos on the
Hmm.
best shape of my life series. They wanted to lose 20 pounds in 20 weeks, which really is not difficult at all. If you don't even have
No.
to work out, just eat the right type of foods. But they're like, all right, we're going to have you on this creatine and pre-workouts, and we're going to do 2 workouts a day. And it's like get up early and run, then do a workout, and sometimes a second workout after that. And we're going to be
Hmm.
super strict on your food. I'm like, no wonder the stuff fails. Like, just make little changes, and that's all it takes. And find something you like so that you will actually keep doing it. Because like me, running, I used to like running, and I probably still would, but my knee hurts when I do it now. I guess I'm
Okay.
just unfortunately getting old. And when I ride a bike, I don't really like hunching over on a bike for a long time.
Sure.
And I started swimming this year, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I got into that, and that's a type of cardio I actually like. Whereas if I had to go run every 4 days for my cardio, I'd probably be dreading it because I don't want to go run. But
Yeah.
if you find something you like, that's the key to just being productive and being healthy to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think that there's so many different things that you can do for your health in terms of cardio or working out. I mean, I'll always kind of be an advocate, no matter what your goal is for some sort of strength training. But I mean, even if that's not your thing or not what you're comfortable with, like, I mean, you can still do, body weight workouts or, there's videos on YouTube or wherever that you can just watch and follow along with. So there's just so many different things out there, and like I love the cardio example that you used. I personally I hate running too, so I'm not a runner. I can tolerate biking, so biking's not bad for me. So just like find what works for you, what you enjoy, or maybe if you don't enjoy, maybe just don't hate doing.
Yeah,
But
really.
yeah, make it fun, make it easy, and like start small. And I think the Will Smith example that you brought up was a good one. Why a lot of these things kind of fail, where you just do that crash diet, or you eat at like a I don't know 1,500 calorie deficit while doing 2 workouts a day and 2 hours of cardio and stuff. It's like, well, no wonder it's kind of going to fail, because it's almost like you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's not always the fault of like the individual, because sometimes that's like what they're being taught or being told from, you know, people on the internet, or, whatever celebrity workout columns or what have you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, one of the problems with crash dieting, like I know it's weight, I want to get it off as quick
Hmm.
as possible, and people don't realize, okay, well, I didn't get fat overnight. Like it's a lifestyle, and you
Yeah.
do some kind of fad diet, like cutting out all carbs or juicing or whatever, and
Hmm.
it works. But then you get to the end of the diet and you go back to eating like you used to, and you gain the weight back. And a
Right.
lot of times you start binging because like I couldn't have this. For me, like even if I go to cut 300 to 500 calories, just the thought of being like, okay, I can't have this now, not like a specific food, but I can't eat as much. I just
Hmm.
think about wanting to eat more.
Yeah.
And it's just that I can't have it, so I want it. But the problem with the crash diet is like, yeah, you can lose the weight quick, but a lot of that weight is muscle. And people don't realize that. They just think a
Yeah.
number on the scale. Because, like with the example of, the 1,000 pound sister thing, she probably has a lot of muscle to be able to move around all that weight,
Yeah.
but you lose a ton of fat or weight quick, you lose muscle, then you
Hmm.
gain weight back. Everything you gain back is probably going to be fat because you're probably not exercising anymore. So now you're back to your original weight, but you actually have less muscle than you did originally and more fat. And then you crash diet again. And that yo yo diet cycle, you just
Yeah.
end up with less and less muscle each time. And you're actually hurting yourself by doing that. Whereas, slow, steady changes, eating a little bit healthier, just making good choices and like you said, lifting, giving your muscles a reason to build or at least stay what
Hmm.
they are is the best thing you can do for being healthy as far as just having the muscle to maintain yourself while losing
Yep.
fat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those are really good points. And yeah, it's just find what works for you, and just know that like it's not a competition, or it's not a race. That slow progress. You might maybe be a little frustrated, or you might want the results quicker, but just I promise you, if you take the slow and steady approach, it's gonna work out. I mean, it's the age old expression, slow and steady wins the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, regardless of what it is. And that's the same thing with like PED use and all that stuff.
Hmm.
You might get to your genetic limit or above it really quick, but I've heard Greg Doucette say a lot like, well, then what happens? Then you stop taking it, you start losing your joy of the gym because instead of making gains, you're actually losing
Yeah.
strength and seeing your physique get worse because you're not taking the stuff anymore because it's not healthy. So I'm like, I would rather just continually make little gains and like have a
Hmm.
goal to shoot for when I go to the gym. Be like, I want to see if I can do this time. And I don't always lift more. Sometimes I lift less. I mean, we have a 2 month old or 3 month old now, and she's waking up in the night. And, my wife wakes up, it wakes me up.
Yeah.
And you don't get as good a sleep. You might not get as good a workout the next day, but
Right.
just knowing that I can progress is good for me. If it's slow, like the slow changes are good. But I was
Exactly.
going to ask you, what's your exercise routine look like?
Yeah, so for me, I'm up in Michigan, so we
Nice and
had
cold.
yeah, nice and cold. So that kind of limits the things that I can do outdoors these days. But you know, within the last I guess at this point we're coming about 2 years. So, when the pandemic first started, Michigan shut down their gyms pretty quickly. So I lost access to going to a gym, and at that point I just really started embracing kind of like body weight calisthenic type stuff. I have
That
like
is
an
hard too.
it is. And like I was doing that kind of stuff, and then I had this old backpack, so I would throw some weight plates in it, and maybe instead of just doing regular pull-ups or push-ups, I'll do it with, some extra weight in the bag. So that's what I did for pretty much about a year, and then I went back to school for my master's. So um, I'm living kind of like the college life, being pretty
Yeah.
busy with that. I just kind of said like, body weight workouts have been fine. I've kind of gotten decent with it. I have a few dumbbells. Let me just keep riding this wave, save some money on a gym membership since I'm back in school and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
really, it's kind of been doing that kind of stuff, but slowly building out like almost like a home gym type feel. So like when I'm at home, like right now over breaks and stuff, I have some equipment in the basement that I'll use, and I have some dumbbells that I'll take up with me to school, and some like resistance bands, stuff like that. So really, it's very, I grew up and spent my, you know 18, 19, 20, early 20s doing heavy lifting in the gym. Now it's more so just that body weight and just dumbbells. I actually recently got the like Bowflex dumbbells that it goes from like
Oh yeah.
5 pounds to like 55 or something.
Yep.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, those have been nice to kind of get that heavy um, weight back up there. But that's really mainly what I've been doing. And then cardio wise, I try to make it a point to get like anywhere from like at least 10,000 steps a day, but usually it's closer to
Hmm.
like 12, 13,000. And then also, I'll go on I have an indoor bike at home. I have like one of those mini stair steppers at school that just like you can store in a closet. I just pull it out and do some stair stepping on that, and I just try to kind of keep it fresh and keep it exciting. But that's really what I'm doing mainly. I usually do 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for the workouts, and then cardio. On most days if I can, and then when it comes from a nutrition standpoint, at this stage, I'm kind of on a like a more main gaining type plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of spent the summer like most people, like the March, April, May, kind of in a little cut to, even though things are kind of shut down in the world, still to kind of get that summer physique, and then in the fall, kind of put on that like maintaining, and now trying to maintain a little bit, keep the level of leanness, but gain some muscle and strength while I'm at it.
Yeah, man. I've looked up some calisthenics videos and I've been in hotel rooms and
Yeah,
that's tough. I'm like, dang, I thought I was stronger than this.
right.
It's that's really tough. But one of the, I mean, my favorite thing about everything you just said is basically how you adapted
Hmm.
to what your situation is. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I can't go to the gym now, so I'm just not going to do anything. But it's like, so I'm going to go from doing a ton of stuff to absolutely nothing just because I can't do the same workout. Like I
Right.
understand how it feels if I'm out of town and I don't have gym access, or maybe my hotel just has a few dumbbells or something. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get as good a workout in. I'm not going to be able to follow my same plan as at home. So maybe I just won't do anything. But I'm thinking, okay, I can go from like at least trying to get something in where I can maintain the strength level I have. So when I get home, I keep progressing, or I can do nothing and just let
Right.
it decline. So, I mean, I try to do stuff just like you're saying, like I'll do a bunch of push-ups, like maybe 30 push-ups, and then get up and grab the 50-pound dumbbells and then try to
Yeah.
do as many reps as I can. I'm like, oh, this is a lot harder now.
Yeah.
I don't have to have 90 or 100-pound dumbbells to get a good chest workout or just all that type of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, adapting, just finding
Hmm.
different ways to do stuff based on where you are. That is something that's really important with changing stuff. Like you said, gyms closing down, which
Yeah.
that's a whole different topic.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's like one of the best ways for people to stay healthy and
It
stuff. So
is.
we're gonna keep bars open, but not gyms. Like,
Doesn't make
how
sense.
does this work? But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I think like the adaptability is huge, and I think it's something that I've really benefited from, and it's funny. I've growing up, I was kind of someone that always wanted to try to work out, and to be honest, and to shed some background on me, like I was uh, a pretty big kid growing up. I was, pretty. pretty overweight. And then, around like 16, 17 is kind of when I was like, I just want to be healthy. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to have this like ripped physique. I just want to be healthy. And, from
Yeah.
that stage to now, I've lost over 80 pounds.
Oh wow. Well,
So
congrats on that, man.
thank you, man. So, kind of having that background, when I first got involved with working out, I didn't have equipment at home. I didn't really know about, going to a gym or anything. So I was in my basement working out today, actually, leg day, and I still feel it. Um,
Uh-huh.
I found I made when I was like 15, 16. I took like an old broken broom and like the rod from the broom, and then I put two like washcloths on the end of it and rubber banded them to the bar. And then what I would do is I would just go into the kitchen and put that bar um, like horizontally on two chairs, and then I would lay on my back and then hold the bar and essentially just kind of like pull myself up, just body weight, kind of like rowing motion from the ground
Yeah.
up. And I did that religiously like when I was 15. And I just found that in my basement today. And I was like, oh my God, like what a journey it's been to see that kind of stuff, and just the innovation, and just even like being in my place, this school year. Like there's been times where I'm like, all right, I just had to go to the store and get like a 24 pack of water. I guess that's what I'm squatting with today.
Oh
So
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
getting creative. I think it's it sounds silly maybe, but I think it's just have fun with your workouts and with your health journey, and be willing to adapt, and seek out those opportunities that you have, to continue with the health, even if like you have those barriers to entry, if you will.
Yeah, it's amazing how innovative you can get. I did
Yeah.
a live workout in a hotel room once where I wasn't allowed to leave the room for 2 days because we had to just stay shut in our rooms. And
Okay.
it's like, okay, how can I do this? And I had my suitcase and I filled it with a bunch of water because I think they had like 10 water bottles in the room. And
Okay.
then I like put all those in my suitcase with my clothes and like
Yeah.
the camera gear that I didn't need and all the drinks from the mini fridge. And I'm like doing the bed was kind of high, so I'm doing like one arm rows with my
Yeah.
suitcase, and I hold the suit doing single leg lunges, and I got some towels and like hooked it up to a door and using my body weight to pull up and do curls,
Yep.
and just did a full workout. It was like an hour or something long, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same obviously as when you have
Right.
good equipment, but just knowing that you can do that, I mean, it's just cool. I mean, what you can
Yeah.
do being creative.
Definitely. And I will say I saw um I can't remember if you put it in a video or if it was just like on Instagram or something, but I got a good laugh at I saw like you took your dumbbell and strapped like a weight plate to it to increase the
Yeah,
weight. I was like, that's
yeah, because
creative.
I bought a set of when I first started building up my gym. I bought a set of 5 to 50 pound weights, and
Yep.
then like a couple of years ago, I bought some 70s, 80s, and 90s, which they cost those three pair of dumbbells cost more than the 5 to 50 set. It's crazy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I want to get some hundreds, but I was looking, they're like $400 is
I
like the
know.
cheapest I've been able to find for one pair of 100 pound dumbbells. I was like, you know what? Duct tape 5 pound weight on the outside of this thing, and there we go. It just increased my dumbbell bench press.
I love it,
I
man.
was just hoping it wouldn't come off and fall on my face, and it didn't, so I was good.
Yeah. There we go. And to anyone listening, please, we're not advising that you duct tape weights to dumbbells. That please don't hurt yourself. But no,
Yes,
I
for
saw
sure.
that.
Be safe.
Yes, be safe. But I saw that. I was like, I love that. I love the creativity, and that's something that I would do myself. So I appreciated that. Oh man, awesome. Well, Cam, it's been a great time talking with you and just kind of hearing about your story and the passion that you have for everything. It's been really awesome just to learn more about it. And I guess one of my last questions for you is, is there anything that you're currently working on, or any future projects that might be coming out soon that we can be looking for?
I mean, just aside from my normal videos, like I do plan on long term eventually trying to make some kind of app
Okay.
for like, say any, I don't know, like recipes and stuff I make.
Yeah.
or workout programs that I do type of thing. Like I don't want to be one of those guys that makes, YouTube videos just so I can sell programs, that type of stuff. But
Sure.
just like that's why I show, like I'm doing a series right now. Like I just did a couple weeks ago, like what my leg day looks like, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to post in a couple days like my normal chest or push day, and then I just recorded a couple days ago my back day one, just showing people what I do. But it
Yep.
is a lot easier to pull it up in an easy place and just look at it, as opposed to finding that video again and then
Yeah.
looking in the description, all that stuff. Because I even do that now when I haven't made French toast in a while, and I was like, I forget how much of everything I use. And I'm like pulling up my own video trying to see in the description the
Right.
recipe for it, and I'm like, it'd be easier if I had this somewhere else. So that's something I've thought about, is making
Okay.
an app where it's like recipes that I eat a lot along with
Yeah.
workouts that I do, or because I do a lot of different workouts. I might be on the road
Sure.
where I have a gym here where I do a full body workout. So this is what my full body workout is when I'm not going to have time to, go to the gym every day, or it's not
Mm-hmm.
available. So that something like that eventually in the future
Okay.
for the fitness stuff aside. And there's a couple people I've been talking to as far as doing some fitness collaborations, hopefully sometime next year, who live in
Awesome.
other countries, which is a cool thing with my job because I can go to other countries easily
Yeah.
and meet with people that wouldn't normally get to go places. So hopefully some of that will be happening, depending on various countries,
Okay.
restrictions, and all that stuff. But
Sure.
and as far as my filmmaking stuff, like that's just tutorials keep going. I have some ideas for some short films and stuff like that, but
Okay.
they are very time consuming. Like
Yeah.
I've done it's been almost 2 years since I made my last one, because for one, I try to involve my family with most of them. When I do, trying to get little kids to act is it can be difficult, and I have
Yeah.
to. My wife will nudge me and remind me, like, "Hey, this is supposed to be fun for them." I'm like getting frustrated, like, "Just do this," and
Yeah.
they're just playing around. Like if you could see some of the behind the scenes takes of stuff, it's like, "Honey, please, please, I will give you more chocolate. Just say this line, and then we'll go
Yeah.
get some candy." But nothing big on that channel right now.
Okay.
I was working on I was gonna try to do like a 4 week like beginner filmmaking course type of thing, and
Okay.
I had it most of it mapped out. I was gonna start recording it, and then I was stupid and didn't back up my computer for a long time, and my computer crashed, and I lost
Ooh.
everything on it, and I just haven't gotten back around to restarting
Yeah.
everything on that. But that's probably something in the future for that channel as well, but kind of
Okay.
far off.
Okay. Awesome. And best place to kind of keep up with your journey and check out your content is going to be just Camber Motion and Camber Fitness then?
Yeah, those are the YouTube ones, and then I have on Instagram, like on my Camber Fitness, I
Hmm.
try to post there almost daily,
Yep.
just different things I'm doing or family stuff. I have one for Camber Films, but
Yep.
all I really do is just post thumbnails to kind of send people to my YouTube channel. So YouTube's probably the best place on
Okay.
both of them, but for like more daily type stuff, Instagram for my fitness stuff.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So I will put all that stuff in the description of the episode as well. So to anyone listening, definitely check out Cam's content. And if you have any questions about anything or just want to connect or hear more about him and his journey and experience, I'm sure if you reach out or comment on a video or something, he'd be more than happy to connect and exchange some words and stuff. So definitely check him out. I know that there's a lot of great content coming. It sounds like you have some cool things in the works too. So definitely a good follow and a good source of some entertainment and good information as well. So be sure to check out Cam. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Zach. It was a lot of
Of
fun, and
course.
good luck to you on getting your master's done.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And, best of luck to you with everything and stay safe, with your traveling for work and everything. And thank you for your service, of course. And, I'm excited to follow along with your journey, and we'll definitely have to keep in touch. And who knows, maybe a year from now, we'll have you back and, we can hear what you're up to then.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too, man. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.